ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ श्री सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ ध्यायामि चिन्मयानन्दं गुरुदेवं महामतिं प्रेमपूर्णं क्रियाशीलं सदा लोकहिते रतं कृपालुं सुन्दराकारं समर्थं सत्यदर्शिनं वाचा तत्त्वप्रकाशिन्या शोकमोहविनाशिनं। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। ॐ नमो नारायणाय। 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 ॐ ऋतगं सत्यं परं ब्रह्म पुरुषं कृष्णपिङ्गलम् ऊर्ध्वरेतं विरूपाक्षं विश्वरूपाय वै नमो नमः। ॐ नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णुः प्रचोदयात्। हरि ओं सुप्रभातम्। ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिहृद्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 59 ॐ वेधास्वाङ्गोजितः कृष्णो दृढः सङ्कर्षणोच्युतः वरुणो वारुणो वृक्षः पुष्कराक्षो महामनाः भगवान् भगहानन्दी वनमाली हलायुधः आदित्यो ज्योतिरादित्यः सहिष्णुर्गतिसत्तमः सुधन्वा खण्डपरशुर्दारुणो द्रविणप्रदः दिवस्पृक् सर्वदृग्व्यासो वाचस्पतिरयो निजः. In this shloka, which we will deal today, the 567th nama is Sudhanva. What is this Sudhanva? Why is this name given to Bhagavan? Shobhanam Indriyadimayam Shargham Dhanurasya Asti iti Sudhanva. A particular mention may be made that this may indicate Sri Rama Avatara. Because Vishnu by himself does not carry a bow and arrow. He carries a chakra, he carries a gadha, a shankha, and in this murti it is Abhaya Hasta, otherwise it is Kamala Padma. Therefore, this can mean Rama Avatara in a manner of saying. As Rama carries one bow called Kodanda, Vishnu also have got a bow which he uses only at times of requirement, and that is called as Sharanga. He carries a bow signifying all the sense organs, meaning Bhagavan has got all the senses and sense organs under his control, like how the bow should be under our control when we use them. Any archer, the most important aspect of archery is when the bow is held firm. The bow should not be shaky. The bow should have perfect control. Or rather, the archer should have perfect control of the bow. The bow should be so firm that while the archery is performed, while the arrow is left, the bow should not shake, because the destination also will be wrong. The arrow will not hit its destination if the bow is shaky. Similarly, the sense organs of a seeker must be firmly under the control of the sadhaka. If the sense organs are not under our control, our sadhana will not reach its destination, because it will get distracted, it will get diverted, it becomes shaky. Most of the sadhakas, if not all of them, most of the sadhakas at every other occasion initially falls prey to what? To the demands of the sense organs. And therefore, their sadhana gets delayed in reaching its destination. Of course, with due respect to the teachings of the teacher, time and again the teacher keeps hitting the student. Hitting in the sense what? Verbally. He teaches the student how to handle his senses, and on the maturity of the student is able to handle his sense organs. Senses and sense organs, both. The bow represents the senses and sense organs, and once the seeker gains the control of the bow, then his sadhana of shooting becomes more efficient, more skillful, more perfect. Bhagavan is considered as Sudhanva because Bhagavan has got perfect control. One is, from the avatara standpoint, Bhagavan had perfect control. From the higher standpoint, the question of senses and sense organ doesn't arise. From the avatara standpoint, he had perfect control. And like as I said, Rama had Kodanda, Arjuna had Gandivam. Like that, each one of them have got a beautiful name to their own bow. And here Bhagavan is called as Sudhanva, who holds a well-controlled bow. Khandaparashuhu or akhanda parashuhu. Both can be taken into consideration. Why? Sudhanva khanda parashuhu. The in between a can also mean an additional a there. Sandhi permits. We will see that. Shatrunam khandanat khandaha. The one who kills, who challenges, confronts, and when occasion comes, kills all the Shatrus. Bhagavan in all his avatara has taken the responsibility. That is why he said, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I will come again and again. In every yuga I will come. For what? For removing all those who are in the path of adharma. Therefore, khandanat, he is called as khandaha. Parashurasya, referring in particular with Parashurama avatara, Jamadagnihi akritehe iti, since he punishes the enemies in the form of Parashurama, who is the son of Jamadagni, he has an axe called Parashu, and therefore he was called Parashurama, and hence called Khanda Parashuhu. Why? Because he removes all the enemies. Khanda Parashuhu with his Parashu. Akhanda Parashuhu means what? That Parashu which can never be broken. Meaning what? Parashu here represents the Atma Bala, the strength. With that strength of knowledge, with that strength of Parashu, he can cut asunder all the enemies. Now, the same when we apply as sadhakas, we apply that axe of knowledge to cut asunder all the enemies of vices. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, Raga, Dvesha, all of them can be cut asunder only through knowledge. And knowledge is represented by Bhagavan Sri Rama. So, Khanda Parashu, when it is said, the one, that is in this case Parashurama, in our case Bhagavan Sri Rama, with the knowledge of axe, with the strength of axe, cuts asunder all our enemies. Now here one thing we have to understand. Unless we surrender at the feet of Bhagavan time and again, even Bhagavan to cut asunder our enemies will become difficult. He will keep quiet. Why? We have not yet surrendered at his feet. Look at Bhagavad Gita. First chapter, Bhagavan never opened his mouth. Second chapter, until the 10th shloka, Bhagavan never opened his mouth. Why? Shishya has not surrendered. He waits for the Shishya to surrender at the feet so that he can take up action. Similarly, when Arjuna said, Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam, until then Bhagavan kept quiet. Once Arjuna said, Shishyaste, I am your Shishya, I am surrendering at you, shadhimam tvam prapannam, please protect me. Until then Bhagavan kept quiet. And once he has surrendered, then Bhagavan takes the reins. Reins meaning what? Takes control. And then he gives him the greatest knowledge. Bhagavan is ready to give us the best. But we are unavailable. We are completely distracted into what? Into all the petty, paltry, ephemeral, impermanent whims and fancies of the world, which is of no worth. Therefore, Acharya says, Bhavasukhe doshaha anusandhiyatam. Look at the Bhavasukha, which has got lot of dosha. It will only finally give you disappointment. Therefore, all those whims and fancy attitudes which I have must be cut asunder, and we have to surrender at the feet of Bhagavan, who with that firm knowledge will remove all the vices and give us the great knowledge of Parabrahma Swarupa, which is represented by Rama. Darunaha. Daruna also means Bhayankaraha. In another place they say. Sanmarga Virodhinam. Please note. Sanmarga Virodhinam. All those who are Virodhis of good path, right path, righteousness. Darunatvat Darunaha. The one who will cut asunder, who will remove, who will eliminate all those who are adharmic people. Now, one may wonder, Swamiji, if Bhagavan has to remove all the adharmic people, is it not true the world will be of no people here? Because everybody is adharmic in some way or the other. In a manner of fact, in case Bhagavan says, whatever you do, if you do adharmic, I will kill you, then nobody might be there. But that is not the way Bhagavan deals. That is the immature way of dealing by human beings. Just kill or create problems, etc., etc. But Bhagavan, in Tamil Bhasha, which is my Matrabhasha, there is one saying, Manidan andre kolvan Deivam nindru kollum. Man kills immediately, reacts immediately with an immatured mind. Bhagavan nindru kollum. Bhagavan will wait. He will give you a long rope, but he will hold firmly the other end. He will give you a long rope. Go, how much ever you want, you go. But if you realize, you will come back. Then I will pull the rope and I will take you. I will embrace you. I want you with me. But when, even after leaving a long rope, if you are not satisfied, if you are going in the adharmic way, then Bhagavan is ready to cut and cut asunder. Therefore, Sanmarga Virodhinam, those who are opposite, those who oppose good, righteous path, those people, he will fears them, he will remove them, eliminate them. Darunatvat Darunaha. Dravina Pradaha, another very beautiful nama. Dravinam Vanchitam Bhaktebhyaha Pradadati iti Dravina Pradaha. In the earlier nama we saw, if somebody is going in the unrighteous path, in the wrong path, then he will cut asunder. At the same time, he also will help those bhaktas who are going in the righteous path, and they can also have some little desires. What is there after all? As long as we are human beings, desires will be there. But legitimate, rightful desires, Bhagavan will bless. It is not that Bhagavan is a sadist. It is not Bhagavan say, I have a desire to have a cup of coffee. They are not adharmic. I desire to go for a walk. It's a desire. It is not adharmic. I desire to, enjoy a TV program. All these are not adharmic desires. I am giving you one vague example. But there are adharmic desires which all of us know. The one who follows adharmic way is very sure that he is doing wrong. Why? The inner fear is the measuring rod. Think. Any adharmic activity I do, there is definitely a fear inside. Definitely a fear that I don't want others to know that I am doing this adharmic thing. Such an activity must be avoided. Must be given up. Mind has taken to it because of immaturity, because of its weakness at a particular point. Forget the past, change over. Reconcile. Think. And while reconciling, slowly transform the quality and texture of thoughts. If there is a seeker who is ready to transform himself, who is ready to change over and work hard in the path of sadhana and says, Bhagavan, whatever I have done, please forgive me. Kayena, vacha, manasa, indriyairva, prakriti swabhavati, yadyat karomi, sakalam parasmai narayana iti samarpayami. I surrender everything. Anyatha sharanam nasti. Tvameva sharanam mama. Tasmat karunya bhavena. Why karunya? To be compassionate enough to protect me, accept me in spite of what I am, and for whatever I have done, kshamasva. Sarva aparadam kshamasva, we say in our puja vidhi. We say it just as a regular routine. But when I surrender to Bhagavan and say, Bhagavan, I have done so many mistakes. I have done blunders. I have done crimes maybe. But now I have realized myself. What do I mean by realize myself? I have realized whatever I have done is wrong. I am ready to change. Please help me. Give me the strength. And please help me remove. Kamadi dosha rahitam kurumana sancha, says Tulsidas ji. Please remove my this. Why? I am unable to remove it myself. Therefore I surrender. Thus, a seeker who goes and surrenders at the feet of Bhagavan and say, I want to change, I want to transform my mind, I want to set it in the path of sadhana, I want to reach the goal, I need to be there, I have no other desire in this world. Such a desire is acceptable. And such desires, dravinam vanchitam bhaktebhyaha pradadati. Bhagavan says, this is what I am telling you to do. I am waiting for you to come. Come. You are welcome. And then He will bless us. He will clear all the path. All those hindrances. Hindrances of what? Our own desires only. Our own vices only. He says, I will clear. You come. How? Total surrender. That is why the word here is very clear. Bhaktebhyaha vanchitam. Those devotees not in the general term what you and I say. That way even we are also devotees only. Who said no? Accepted. But the devotee here is a devotee who does not vouch, who does not vote for adharmic, illegitimate, immatured desires. But the one who definitely desires moksho me bhuyat iti mumukshuhu, that mumukshu who wants only Bhagavan, Bhagavan clears all his path. Think. Therefore, dravina pradaha, the one who gives all those righteous, legitimate, unopposed desires, Bhagavan will bless. In fact, we have come across so many people saying, Appa, Bhagavan has blessed me. Bhagavan has blessed me. Bhagavan, what does that mean? That means Bhagavan has blessed all the righteous requirements. See, need is one thing, want is another thing. Need is something what we deserve. It does not mean what we want we don't deserve. But if the want is legitimate, if the want is righteous, if the want is unopposed to this path set, then one will be able to gain that, one will achieve that, and that achievement is Bhagavan's blessings. Think, therefore he is called Dravina Pradaha. Divasprik, a very beautiful name. Divaha Sparshanat Divasprik. Bhagavan is said to be all pervasive, we all know. There is one very beautiful story. Vishnu and Brahmaji wanted to find out the height of Shiva, it seems. So one went upwards, one went downwards. To find the two tips of Bhagavan, they would never reach. The head is almost like touch the heaven, and the foot touch the hell also, meaning he is there everywhere. And here in this Nama, Divasprik, the one who has touched heaven. What does it mean here? The one who is experiencing absolute shanti. Heaven is not some loka somewhere far above above the 11th cloud, or something to go below underneath digging the earth. Those are all, it's a child's play to say that Bhagavan is very high above, he is high, and all that in the initial LKG class we may say. But what is at heaven and what is at hell? Our own mind can experience heaven when the mind is quiet. Heaven is nowhere far above. In our own mind is heaven, our own mind is also hell. That is why it is said, Manaha eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. When there is bandhana, it is hell. When there is no bandhana, it is Shanti Swarupa, and that itself is heaven. Now here, Divasprik, when it is said, Bhagavan is experiencing heaven in the sense, he himself is heaven. And Bhaktas, when they render their mind quiet, when there is no desires in the mind is no more agitated to acquire and possess those objects of the world. When the mind does not have any desire for the objects of the world, when the mind has no agitation, the mind is rendered quiet. This experience of quietude of the mind itself is heaven, and Bhagavan definitely shines in that quiet mind. Think. In that still mind, in that quiet mind, Bhagavan shines. Therefore it is said, Divasprik, the one who touches heaven in the sense, who experiences heaven and who makes the devotee also experience that heavenly experience. He is called Divasprik. Sarvadrik Vyasaha. Sarvadrisham Sarvajnananam Vistarakrita Vyasaha. Now this also refers to Vyasa Maharshi, who is also an avatar of Bhagavan, we have seen earlier. Jnana of all disciplines is called Sarvadrik. Drik means the knower, the seer, the experiencer. And Jnanam of all disciplines means the knower of all disciplines of Jnanam, all branches of knowledge. As Vyasa, meaning what? In the form of Vyasa, Bhagavan himself, who is Vyasa, he expounded upon all disciplines of knowledge through what? Through Veda. And Veda is what? Nothing but Bhagavan himself. Therefore, he is called Sarvadrik Vyasaha. Vyasaha, the one who knows everything, and with that knowledge, the one who has given the Veda. As Veda Vyasa, he is the one with all knowledge. Sarvam Pashyati iti Sarvadrik Sarvajnaha. We call Bhagavan as what? Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvavyapi. Sarvajnaha, the one who knows all, knower of everything. Sarvashaktiman, all powerful. Sarvavyapi, all pervading. These three are major definitions of Bhagavan. Jnana of all disciplines is called Sarvadrika, as Vyasa is the one who compiled the Vedas and classified into 4 Vedas. Why is it classified? It becomes easier for you and me, the highly immatured sadhaka, but with a desire to know, a desire to gain the knowledge of the Supreme. Those sadhakas, for their convenience, Vedas were divided into 4 granthas, Rig, Yajur, Sama and Atharvana, and it was given to us for our convenience. Therefore, he is called as Sarvadrik Vyasaha. Vachaspatihi Ayonijaha. It can be dealt as a different name, and it can also be seen as one single name. Vachaha Vidyaya Patihi Vachaspatihi. Vachaha meaning what here? Knowledge. Vidya. He is a Lord of all knowledge. Vidyayaha patihi. And at the same time, Vakpatischa, we may say. Vakpatischa meaning the one who has got absolute control of his words. And here, words refers to Veda again. Therefore, the Lord of knowledge, the Lord of Vedas, he is called as Vachaspati. Generally, many people have got the name Vachaspati. Is another very common name in the world. What does Vachaspati mean? The oracious speaker, etc. The meanings come. There are some people who constantly non-stop speak. And in fact, if you sit down and honestly listen to them, very difficult to listen to such people, but in case you listen to them, you will find most of them are people who speak only nonsense. No relevance. No worthy information in that. They just want to speak continuously. Those people cannot be called as Vachaspati. Who is a Vachaspati? The one who has perfect control in whatever he speaks, and there is some meaning, there is some goodness, there is some usefulness, there is some meaning in whatever he speaks. Such a person is called Vachaspati, whose speech are good for himself and to the world and to the people around him. Therefore, such a person is called Vachaspati. And Ayonijaha yaha anyam na jayate iti ayonijaha. Here, born from a womb, everyone is a yonijaha. All of us are yonijaha. Why? We came out of a womb. That means what? We have a birth, a date of birth, obviously. But here Bhagavan is called as Ayonijaha. Yonijaha, the one who takes birth. Ayonijaha, the one who is birthless. What is birthless? The one who is beyond time. The one who is eternal. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajaha nityaha shashvatoyam puranaha na hanyate hanyamane sharire, says Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Bhagavan here is an Ayonijaha, the one who has no birth, the one who is beyond the concept of birth and time. There is no Janana or Marana. Vachaspatihi Ayonijaha. Continuing. Trisama samagasama nirvanam bheshajam bhishak Sanyasa krichama shanto nishtha shantif parayanam. Trisama samagasama nirvanam bheshajam bhishak Sanyasa krichama shanto nishtha shantif parayanam. Before taking up the shloka, let me remind you, most of the concepts in this nama, most of the meanings, we have already dealt. Therefore, I will not go deeper and deeper in every nama again and again. I will tell only the meaning and the concept. Then you can refer it to the previous explanation of that. Trisama, the 574th nama says, Devavrata samakhyataihi tribihi samabhihi samagaihi stuta iti trisama. Bhagavan is one who is to be worshipped. There are 9 forms of bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, which we have seen earlier. 9 forms of bhakti is there, out of which one form of bhakti is stuti, Kirtanam, ityadi. Devavrataha samakhyataihi tribihi samabhihi samagaihi stutaha. The one who is praised. By whom? Samagaihi, those people who are singers. Singers of what? The threefold summons by name Devavrata. There are three types of singing, and there are three type of clan which sings, and here in the name of Devavrata, threefold samans. Actually speaking, it is the heart that speaks. And Bhagavan is being sung by great yogins, great sadhakas, great singers of yore. And therefore, since he is being worshipped, and here one more meaning will be Samabhihi. Sama Veda deals with the musical aspect of Veda. And three sections sing the Sama Veda, and therefore he is called as Trisama, one. And the best part here is, why Trisama? The singer is Bhagavan only. The song is also Bhagavan. And the one who is worshipped, the worship and the worshipper, all are Bhagavan only. From the highest standpoint, Trisama is nothing but Bhagavan's Nama in the form of worshipper, the worship and the worshipped. Therefore, Trisama. Samagaha. Now the three names are go together. Trisama, Samagaha, Sama, we will see. Samagayati iti Samagaha. The one who sings the Samans. Samans here refers to what? Samaveda. The one who sings Samaveda is called Samagaha. Sama. What is Sama? Vedanam Samavedosmiti Bhagavan Vachanat Samavedaha Sama. Now Veda, Samaveda itself is Bhagavan. He himself declares, among the Vedas, I am the Samaveda. He never said, I had the Samaveda. He never said, I sang the Samaveda. He says, I am the Samaveda. Therefore, that declares that he is the Veda itself, that declares he himself in the form of singers or bhaktas, he is singing the Veda, and the Veda is none other than Bhagavan. Therefore, Trisama, Samaga, Samaha, all the three. What do they indicate in those Veda? Nirvanam. A beautiful, and therefore he is called as Nirvana. Sarva Dukkha Upashamana Lakshanam. Sarva Dukkha, meaning all kinds of dukkha, pain, suffering. All these are what? Now please note very carefully. Sukha, dukkha, labha, nashta, ninda, stuti, all these are nothing but expressions of the mind. And what is mind? Chanchalam asthiram. The chanchalatva of the mind, the asthiratva of the mind is sorrow. The sthirata of the mind is peace. Quieter the mind, greater is the experience of peace. And here, sarva dukkha upashamana lakshanam, meaning what? That mind which is still, that mind which is quiet, that mind which is peaceful, is the experience of Nirvanam. Paramananda Rupam. It is absolute joy. Impermanent joy is pleasure, but Nirvanam is permanent joy. Joy which everlasts, never ends. Such a joy is called Nirvanam. Absolute happiness, which otherwise is called Moksha. Moksha is not some place to travel. Moksha is not some place to go and reach. Here and now is moksha. Here and now is hell. Both are available here only. That is why I said, Manaha eva manushyanam karanam bandhanam mokshayoho. Both are mind only. Moksha, mind only. Bandhana, mind alone has tied itself. Think. Therefore, Acharya says, Sarva dukkha upashamana lakshanam Paramananda Rupam Nirvanam Tad Brahma. We may add that Brahman is of this nature who is absolute happiness, free from all kinds of sorrow. Bheshajam Sansara Rogasya Aushadham Bheshajam. What is Bheshajam? Samsara Roga Aushadam. The disease of samsara is cured by the medicine called Bheshajam. And this medicine is required because of what? Because we need to come out of the disease called samsara. And therefore, what is the medicine? It is called Bhishak. Samsara Roga Nirmokshakarinim Param Vidyam. The knowledge of the Supreme is the medicine of or for samsara roga nirmokshakarinim. It will completely remove the sadhaka from samsara bandhana, samsara roga. Upadidesha Gitasu iti Bhishak. It is beautifully expressed in all the Gitas. Gitas here represents what? Again Vedas. One who teaches the Brahma Vidya. Here one is what? Bhagavan only is everything. And from our standpoint, all the textbooks, all the Vedic textbooks, Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Itihasa, Prakarana, all of them put together is called as Gita. Here, Gita means Shastra. And in that Upadesha of the Shastra, what is it given? Vidya, knowledge. And it is this knowledge which will cut us under samsara bandhana and then give us that beautiful peace of the mind. Because no more is the mind identified with anything. Right? Iti Bhishak. Sannyasa Krita. Krita meaning what? The one who performs. Sannyasa Krita, the one who is the author of that Chaturtha Ashrama called Sannyasa. Acharya says, Mokshartham, for the sake of moksha, not for any other sake. Sannyasa is only for that activity. Brahmacharya for gaining the knowledge. Grihastha for applying the knowledge. Vanaprastha is to experiment that knowledge in control for sadhana, etc. And sannyasa is instituted to gain liberation. Alright? Mokshartham chaturtham ashramam. Fourth ashrama, kritvaniti sannyasa krita. Bhagavan brought these four sections. Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasi. And the fourth ashrama is meant only for mokshartham, not for any other purpose. It is unfortunate, it is sad that sannyasa dharma is taken for so many other activities in the world, which are condemnable in most of the cases. There are good activities taking place, those are appreciable, but at the same time, one must understand sannyasa dharma is for moksha, nothing else. In the process, if it helps few people around to set them in the path of sadhana, one has to do it. That is why sannyasis teach Shastra, so that it may help. But the teaching is again for his own development, not for the sake of the world. So, mokshartham chaturtham ashram kritvan iti sannyasa krita. Shamaha sannyasinam pradhanyena jnana sadhanam shamam acheshta iti shamaha, the one who ordains the control of the mind. Sannyasinam pradhanyena, the most primary activity of a sannyasi is what? Jnana sadhanam. And for that, he has to control his mind. Such a mind, such a sadhaka is also called as Shamaha, and Bhagavan, who is the very nature of peace, nature of unagitated mind. Therefore, he is called Shamaha. And this is Sannyasa Lakshanam. Please note, Sannyasa Dharma is again to maintain that control of the mind and proceed further towards the final destination, which is Jnana Sadhanam, Mokshartham. Very beautiful Subhashita says, Yatinam Prashamo Dharmaha. Yatinam here what? Sannyasinam Prashamo Dharmaha. Prakarshena Shamaha. Control of the mind, this is Dharma. Niyamaha Vanavasinam. Niyamaha meaning what? Disciplines. Disciplines is for the Vanavasi, Vanaprasthashrama. Dhanameva Grihasthanam. For a Grihastha, Dhanam is the Prathama Dharma. All these are what? Prathama Dharma of every section of the personality. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. Sannyasi, Shamaha. Vanaprastha, Niyamaha. Grihastha, Dhanameva. And Shushrusha, Brahmacharinam. Brahmacharis must perform seva. Shushrusha, to his guru, to the Shastra. Thus, Prathamam Dharma is given to all of them. Sarva Bhutanam Shamayita iti va Shamaha. The one who is the Shamayita, the extinguisher of all beings at the time of Pralaya. When Pralaya comes, Shamayita is what? To bring everything to himself. And that activity is called Shamayita, and therefore he is also called Shamaha. Shantaha, the one who is at peace. Vishaya Sukheshu Asangataya Shantaha, the one who has no attachment to any Vishaya, sense pleasures. The one who is completely away from that and who has no relevance for sense pleasures. Nishphalam Nishkriyam Shantam. There is no karma phala activity for him. There is no performance with ego in that, and therefore the mind is always quiet. Shanta Swarupi, who has no Vishaya Sukha Ichha. Asangataya, because of udasinata to sense pleasures. Nishtha. Nishtha, the oneness who is well established. Acharya says, Nitaram Sthitihi Nishtha, the one who is well settled continuously in the abode. What is that abode? As a sadhaka, in sadhana, and the one who has gained the knowledge establishes himself in Bhagavan. That Nishtha in Bhagavat Anubhava. Shantihi. What is Shantihi? Samasta, it has to be samasta avidya nivrittihi shantihi. Sa Brahma eva. It is Brahman alone. Being Brahman, one who is free from all kinds of avidya, ignorance of the entire universe, knowledge of Brahman. All objective knowledge are actually not knowledge. They are all information, data. But real knowledge is knowledge of the Brahman. And therefore, Sa Brahmaiva, and the one who has reached that, his mind is absolute Shanti. It is absolute peace. And where does it rest? Parayanam. Ayanam is to rest. Param Utkrishtam Ayanam Sthanam Parayanam. Paravrittihi, Punaravrittihi. Punaha Avritihi is not there. Shankarahitam iti Parayanam. Once one settles down, where? Param Utkrishtam Ayanam Sthanam, there is no comeback. Yad Gatva na Nivartante Tadhama Paramam Mama, says Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. With this, Parayanam is again Bhagavan. Therefore, one has to work to reach there. With this, the 62nd shloka is over. We will continue tomorrow. Om शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम. श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरि ओम.